This is Scott Ferrall. He did a radio show for us here on Howard 100 last night. Or was he on Howard 101? There he is. There's Scott, who was on... Scott is joining us. You're on tonight, right, Scott?
Absolutely. It's just the greatest thing ever for me.
Great. Is this not
Oh, my God. It was just the sickest night of my life. I've now accomplished everything in life. I did Letterman twice, and now I sit with you, God on Earth, my hero in radio.
Thank you.
And to sit here and see Artie after all my years in Lipstick City out in L.A. doing gambling and drinking and hookers and everyone that was evil in the business.
You know what? I got to tell you. When everyone said you were coming to do... Put that on so we can hear you.
All right, my bad.
That's your headphones.
I grab it, too, like a face mask. When I do my show live, I yank on it, I pull on it, I break microphones. Last night, I tore one out of the wall.
I have heard stories about you now that, in a way, are,
It's the greatest day of my life being here. I swear to God, I'm going to jump off the roof.
Can I say ADD?
When did you get into radio? How long ago?
I was doing the Bob Knight Show in Bloomington, Indiana when I was 18 years old. I walked up to the sports director and I said, I am nuts, I'm better than you, I'm louder than you, and I will bring more to your show than anyone ever. I'm an entertainer, I'm going to do everything to get you audience and build numbers and ratings. I'm going to screw your competition, I'm going to do them, I'm going to make fun of them until they quit their jobs, and I want to talk about Bob Knight because he's an asshole, and so am I, and I want to be just like him. So I did that for 5 years.
Was the appeal that you were a fan of sports?
I wanted to be Howard Cosell.
Right.
I wanted to be, when I got in the Wall Street Journal, they said I was going to get Generation X. That's when Mel hired me in San Francisco. I was in a restaurant at the Ritz-Carlton, and he came in with my agent, and he said, can we wrap this up in 5 minutes? I don't want to be seen with him. I ordered lunch with Mel. He never took a bite. He got up. I think he put some butter on his bread, rolled out the door.
Let me understand what you're saying. You start a radio career.
Liquid Dell'Abate, it is good.
It is the Liquid Dell'Abate.
You start a radio career.
Right.
And you're saying that people were so turned off to you.
Right.
Like a powerful man like Mel Karmazin. He sat down with you and your agent, and he tried to negotiate a deal. He said, I'll sign him, but I don't want to be in a room with him for more than 5 minutes.
I think he used to go, and he'd bring me into your old building for meetings, and my wife would shove her pump in my foot like Jesus, and she, because I'd open my mouth. He said to me one day, he goes, what do you think's the problem with your show? And I said, your salespeople blow, and they're not making me any money. I want 10%, and this place sucks, and they're all a bunch of fat asses, and they never get anything done, and I want to get something done. I want to make some goddamn money in here. He fired me twice. They fired me when I was on Westwood One because I went to the NHL to do play-by-play for this team, Atlanta, and the day I signed the contract, Hollander fired me. He said, we'll teach you, you little smart ass. You think you got it all. You walk away from this job, you'll be dead in 5 weeks. And so I did the hockey. I left $1 million job for a $100,000 job. But I like hockey more than I like money. I like sports better than I like bosses. I like being me more than I like
you're your own man is what you're saying.
Basically, it got me fired 15 times before I grew up and wised up and said, wait a minute, I've now alienated everyone in the business. No one will talk to me. No one will see me. Meanwhile, I thought I had a lot of talent. I could, make them money in numbers. But
go ahead, Gary.
You should talk about the reason the first wife left him. She states her a lot of crap, but when he ditched the $1 million job for the $100,000 job, she's like, you know what, that's enough.
Well, okay, so you were in the industry, you're on a roll, you were really starting to happen, you had a lot of big career stuff going on.
I'm on Westwood, I'm in 150 cities, the world was mine.
Then I heard the rumor that you got into heavy drinking. And that it almost ruined you.
Well, I never felt that it was more of a thing, Howard, where I was actually enjoying having keg parties at the studio. I remember we had the UCLA women's softball team come in with a bathtub full of beers, and everybody got naked. These adventures were good for my health and my future.
Did you go to rehab? Did you clean up?
I've never once ever gone to rehab. And you know what I did?
Because the rumor I heard was from these guys that you went into rehab, you cleaned up your act, you're not drinking as heavily now.
Never went to rehab. When I had my son, Gunnar, and when he was born 14 months ago, the greatest day of my life, I'm in Hackensack University. They hand me this raw baby out of a C-section, and I grabbed him and I said rock and roll, and I stuck my tongue down some nurse's throat, and ever since I've been running around with this kid. He's the greatest thing ever. When I had the kid, I just chilled out. I grew up. I had responsibility. I changed 11 diapers a day.
So you're a different guy. You're saying, let's say whether you come work here or somewhere else, you're saying now you're a responsible guy. You're still wild. You're still crazy. You still have your opinions.
Right.
But you know where to be wild and crazy.
Absolutely. I stopped telling bosses to fuck off. I stopped being an idiot.
Talk about that, Gary.
Scott,
what have you heard about?
Scott, have you ever fallen asleep during a show?
I fell asleep at NEW in the morning several times. I had one morning I went in at 5:15 straight from, I think, Martini's on Broadway. And I remember I reeked like, several, like Cosmos or something. I was eating olives all night. I had bad breath. I think I was smoking cigars, inhaling party guests. I walked in, all the producers saw me, they were scared to death of me. Now these guys are all bigs at Infinity. They're all in suits. They were in jeans then, but now they're big, management guys. And I remember I went on the air 5 minutes into the show, I went, my head went right into the mic. I was out cold. They were shaking me. They were pouring water on me.
So that gives you a bad reputation at work, that you show up for the show and you pass out.
They said I was partying in studio. I was having bags. I was falling asleep in breaks. I was taking 4-minute naps at every break.
Well, let's ask the rumors here, because Gary, you've heard them all.
They used to call me when he was. I was talking to a guy that used to work on the show, and he's like, "Oh my God, he fell asleep during the show."
Tell me what you've heard about
I also slept at the radio station, and I'd let homeless people sleep there as well, because I felt that I was doing my part for the community. I would also drink all of the booze in the radio station at night and sneak in and break into the different liquor cabinets. And I slept in my office. They didn't know I was in there for about 4 weeks because I was waiting to get into an apartment.
Why do you think you drank so heavily?
Why do you think
you drank so heavily?
Because I like to drink heavily, like Artie. I like to eat a lot of bad food and everything else.
But surely it was self-destructive in the sense that you were falling asleep on the air.
We were smoking blunts. We were doing everything. I mean, the show was insane. I had all these crazy people coming in.
Was it a good show if you're that high?
Well, I did. I was doing MTV at the time. I did the Rodman World Tour. I was doing Sports Channel TV. It was syndicated at night on television, which would become Fox.
Was the pressure getting to you? Is that why you think?
I think that pressure definitely got to me. I think I got, at a young age, way too much money, way too much fame. Everybody, when they brought me back to do mornings on NEW, I was working at FAN, and then I worked at ESPN in New York, and I walked on both of them. They gave me the Burning Bridges Award for 02, and then I went on Morning Drive up against you. I just wanted to be competing with you. Same thing in Miami. I've always been smelling your ass for all these years and losing to you, so I figured, what the hell, I gotta get with this dude. It's simple as that. I'm not even cheesing you.
That's good. We like that.
The station in Miami, I got so fucked by these people. The same guy that attacked you sued me for $5 million, Jack Thompson, for indecency, obscenity. They got me for egregious hate-mongering, profanity, indecency, obscenity. They said I was promoting hate among children on their way to school.
Did you lose the lawsuit?
I did lose a lawsuit. I did lose my job. Those people.
Well, you'd understand that you can't just slander people or libel them.
And I was on with Neil Rogers right behind me. We had a 14-share combined. We owned the market. We were killing everyone. After that, I went to where I started. I felt at that point I should probably start adapting to others and listening more and shutting up. So what I do now, Howard, I think I just do a great show that rips. It's fast-paced. It's global. It's interactive. It's got everybody getting into it. They're dancing. It's 100 miles an hour. It's speed radio. People get off on it. They can feel it in their veins.
How did the show go last night? You felt good?
I had more fun last night than I've had in a long time. It was like the greatest night of my life. I was getting off. It just was just...
You were flying.
Seeing in the building.
That's how I feel here as well.
It makes me horny. I mean, just even your studio, the surroundings, the people. Last night people were getting off to the show last night. There were people going nuts. I had truckers pulling off the road playing with themselves. I had women calling me, telling me they wanted to fuck me, and no women ever call me. I get mad.
Let me say something. Scott's on 8 to 11 on 101.
Right after Bubba.
Right after Bubba. Bubba is out of his mind, and Scott might be even more out of his mind.
He loves talking about slippery young poon, and then you go into Ferrall, and I'm a lunatic fringe city.
Some people would say
do I play with my mic enough? It's like I play with myself.
You're fine. You say you sound like at one point, and things are working out now, you're a very, very troubled guy. Were you competing with your father because he is a broadcaster? Were you competing with your mother? Do you hate your parents? I mean, was something going on?
My mom died of breast cancer, and she was my best friend. She died in '97, and I've done some things on the air to try to raise money for breast cancer and things of that. Like I named my son after her. Her name was Gunnar, so I named my son Gunnar after her. I miss her. My father has been with me ever since her death. In the same capacity as my mother. I've had a great relationship. My father took me to 4 Super Bowls. I took my father to about 3
Your father was a professional broadcaster.
He worked for CBS. He was the anchorman for KMOX in St. Louis.
Well, what about, let's talk about that. What about
He's embarrassed at some of the behavior of the show and my language he finds deplorable.
But can your dad sit you down and say to you, listen, Scott,
every time I see him.
Yeah, you got to slow down. You got to take a deep breath.
He thinks I'm going to drop dead of a heart attack. He thinks I'm on meth. He thinks I'm on coke. He thinks I'm on heroin.
Are you on meth at all?
I'm on no drugs.
No coke.
No drugs.
You've never snorted coke in your life?
I do no drugs. I have done drugs in my life.
All right, you've snorted a little bit of coke.
Everyone's done everything. I've done it twice.